Hey, what's up there, folks? John Kuiper here. I just wanted to talk about this funny conversation I've had with a lot of people. Um, they'll be we'll be talking about housing, right? And I'll be going through all my talking points about homelessness and how that's caused by our planning and zoning laws, and how we're making it too hard to build and too hard to really let people do what they want with their own property, and how this is having major impacts on the economy and it's pushing young people out, and how there's not enough LNAs and nurses and firefighters to take care of the aging population, the baby boomers. And the baby boomers, I'll say all this, okay? And then they'll say, yeah, that's fine, that's great. But, the thing that we're worried about is, we're in favor of all that. We want to help homeless people. But we, don't want, they're trying to do this. These developers are trying to build this housing, and we don't want it, because of X, Y, and Z. And they're like, but we're not NIMBYs, we're in favor of housing, but just, not really in our town. And then the funny thing too, that they said a couple of times is, I've heard people say, it's like, this developer says he's putting in workforce affordable housing, but the apartments are going for $1,600, $1,700, a month. And they don't realize that's the going rate for an apartment now is $1,600, $1,700. Okay. And that, to get affordable housing, to get housing down, it's supply and demand. We just need more housing. Okay. We just need more housing to bring to bring down the price. Okay. That's it. And sometimes I feel like I'm just slamming my head against a wall, in these conversations. I don't know how to explain to people that we're going to need housing, and some of it's probably going to be in your town. And if you don't want your town, or do you want to live in a town that's not going to grow, don't live in a place that people want to live. There's towns that aren't growing. You could move to the Midwest. There's a bunch of dead towns there where no one wants to live. Okay. And you will not see your downtown change at all. You'll see no new housing come in, and if that's what you want. But you cannot live in New Hampshire, particularly in the southern part of New Hampshire, commuting distance to Boston, under an hour to the beach, an hour to the White Mountains, and think it's not going to grow. It's going to grow. But you have two options. You grow controlled with housing, and you pick the housing, if you want tiny homes, or if you want mobile homes, or apartment buildings, mixed use, condos, townhouses, whatever you want, large apartment buildings, you pick. Or you get homeless encampments. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be homeless encampments all over this state, in every town, because what's going to happen is people are going to keep moving here, but the people that are here that can't afford to live here anymore, they don't just leave. Okay, they just can't afford housing, so now they start sleeping in their car. And these aren't like a bunch of young people. A lot of homeless people are over the age of 55. And a lot of you out there, and myself included, a lot of us are one or two unexpected expenses, a big medical issue that you didn't know was coming down the line, and suddenly you have all these bills, and suddenly you're bankrupt and you can't work. All of us, okay, besides the ultra rich, all of us are a few bad circumstances away from being homeless in this state. You got to understand that, okay? There's very few people who are totally good right now. And the economy might not get better. This might be as good as it gets for a little while. It might just chug along in this, not great, but not terrible way for a while. We don't know, okay? But you got to just understand that you can't really be in favor of helping homeless people and also against housing. I know that's hard to swallow, but it's true. And another thing that's really important to understand that I learned, and I didn't know this until I started running. I learned this from a developer, a woman named Ivy Val, sorry. When we build housing, even if it's, let's say, luxury condos, what we need is fluidity in the housing market. So you build some luxury condos, and you might say, how's that helping poor people? Well, what happens is the people who are at the top, at the highest income for renters, move into luxury apartments or they buy luxury condos, and that opens up the housing, and then people move up, and then it adds more housing stock, which then lowers prices. And it's going to take a while, and it's going to take a lot of housing to get to where we need to be. But the alternative is just mass homelessness, okay? You can't ship homeless people to a different state. You can't push them out. And guess what? 30% of the adult homeless are veterans. They are veterans from the Iraq War, from the Afghanistan War, from the Vietnam War. We sent them there, and then we abandoned them on the streets. Real patriots support homeless veterans. Okay? We can do it. We can fix this problem. We just got to think cleverly and, work together. Hey, be good.